How is it going, Rams? And welcome to the first Monday night sports show of the semester. I'm Ethan Bird.
And I'm Rachel Hallam. Tonight we take a look back at big weeks for both CSU men's and women's hoops.
Our very own Rose Carter previews the big game coming up on Sunday.
And Down in the DMs returns to close out the night. All of this and more coming up on CTV Sports.
CSU men's basketball has had one of its most important months of ball against the Mountain West this month. That did not slow down against conference leader Boise State. Entering the week, the Rams owned a 9-2 record in the Mountain West, while the Broncos sat at a perfect 9-0. A sweep would have put the Rams tied for the top spot in the conference. Game 1 was on Wednesday, and it was David Roddy's night, to say the least. Boise State is going to open up with the ball. They won the tip-off, and that is a 3-ball from Marcus Shaver Jr. to open up the game 3-0. James Moore's top of the key off to David Roddy. That would be his second 3 in a row, and it was his second 3 in a row to make it 7-7. Inbound, Roddy to Thomas to Isaiah Stevens, off to Adam Thistlewood, who usually hits those but doesn't matter though. David Roddy is underneath, one of the strongest guys in the Mountain West, puts it back. And guess what else he does? He plays a mean amount of defense, and that's just a disrespectful block. Give me that, says David. Isaiah Stevens, 5 seconds left, and he is so automatic in the final seconds of just about any half. You can count that one. 45-25 lead at the half, and then the Roddy dunk off to Boise State. Derek Alston Jr. with the monster dunk, 20 points on the night. And finally, David Roddy. He's in the paint. He owns the paint. He owned the paint on Wednesday night, backing down the Boise State defender. Floater, dagger, count it. It was all about David Roddy. And after shooting an outstanding 55.8% from the floor, the Rams would take Game 1 78-56. A dominant win that can be credited to one of the most complete Ram performances in recent memory. David Roddy recorded his 6th double-double of the season to a tune of 27 points and 15 rebounds, both career highs. Now, on to Game 2. Rachel?
Well, Ethan, after an exciting first win, the Rams were unable to complete the sweep against Boise State on Friday in their second matchup. The Broncos took down the Rams in commanding fashion, 85-77. Now we're going to start looking at Adam Thistlewood, the man of the night for the Rams, who had 18 points in the first half, setting his season career, including this nice deep 3. And turnovers were so bad for the Rams this night, especially for Stevens, as you can see. And then we have Derek Alston Jr., who hits a nice lob to Ray J. Dennings, puts up 2 on the board for the Broncos. Another turnover, but a nice quick recovery, and Steven makes up for it as he passes outside to John Tonje, who gets under the basket himself, gets 2 on the board for the Rams. But it wasn't going to matter because Derek Alston Jr., a name you kept repeating that night, hits a nice 3 on the outside. Stevens with the no-look pass to Deshaun Thomas, slam dunk, got a little hype for the Rams, but it was not enough as the Broncos took commanding control of this game, and you see Abu Kigab with a wide-open 3 there towards the end of the game. Now, while the Rams went into halftime with a 1-point lead, they could not hold on, and their biggest mistake, countless turnovers. By the time it was all said and done, the Rams ended the night with 18 turnovers, 7 of which came from guard Isaiah Stevens himself. Interestingly enough, the Rams had more turnovers in their blowout win against Boise than they did the second time around, but in the first game, they were able to defend the attack. On Friday, that was not the case, seeing as the Broncos had 24 points off turnovers alone. Coming out of the locker room to the start of the second half, Boise State went on a huge run and took absolute control of the game, gaining a 23-point lead and capitalizing on CSU's miscues that persisted throughout the second half. Forward Adam Thistlewood and guard David Roddy were adamant on their defensive performance.
Tonight was the defensive end. We just didn't have the toughness or the energy that we needed to execute. Like you said, we had a lot of turnovers in the first game, but we were able to get stops. In this game, we just couldn't get any stops.
Again, turnovers seems like a common theme right now, which we're just way too skilled and way too good to be turning over the ball that much. So we just got to get back to the drawing board and get better.
Now, even with the loss, head coach Nico Medved wanted to make sure that the purpose of Friday night's game and the Rams' partnership with UC Health and supporting cancer patients wasn't lost on anyone.
You know, it's a different feeling not having everybody in here tonight, but, you know, not forget, you know, what a night like this meant. And I hope, even though the Rams didn't come out on top, I hope that, you know, people who were involved felt the connection, felt us, that we really, really cared. And so I just want to make that point. The things we do, and I can't wait to be back and do it again when we see people face to face.
Prevent a losing streak, the Rams head to Wyoming this weekend for another conference doubleheader and look for a chance to move up in the standings with a sweep over their rivals to the north. Now, I think we can both attest that being in was honestly very strange.
It's pretty miserable. You can't lie about that. I mean, Moby Madness is truly one of the most special environments you can find in college hoops, in college sports, like in general, especially with volleyball coming to town or getting started again soon. But I mean, honestly, it's such a blessing for us to be able to be there and cover these games.
Absolutely. Hopefully, we can get more people in the stands coming up soon, but we'll see. We're just gonna have to wait and see what happens there.
The future is never promised, but don't worry, Hoopers. More basketball coverage ahead. Still against Boise State, but in enemy territory for the women's team. The first game of the doubleheader was a 71-51 win for the Rams. Freshman duo Ellie Bonney and Callie Clark combined for 29 points and 17 rebounds. McKenna Hofschild added to her conference lead in assists with 8 dimes. The Rams were also just as effective on defense, holding Boise State to 28.2% shooting from the floor. Game 2 on Friday was a similar story. Another 20-point rout of Boise State, 75-53. This time, CSU went on a 14-0 run in the first quarter and simply didn't look back. McKenna Hofschild performed again with 16 points, 6 assists, and 4 steals. Laura DeVos contributed 17 points and 9 boards, and the Rams absolutely dominated the glass, out-rebounding Boise State 52-38, with 4 Rams pulling in 9 rebounds each. I'll tell you what, Kawhi Leonard would be pretty proud of his Mountain West sisters in that one. And this sweep is so important because it shot CSU to 8-2 in the Mountain West, making them the league leader. And the Rams will look to keep up their conference lead when they face off against Wyoming this week on Thursday and Saturday for their shot at the border war.
Now staying on the Moby Arena court, but moving to a different net, CSU women's volleyball season is just around the corner. Starting this Friday, February 5th, 12-time Mountain West Head Coach of the Year Tom Hilbert and his explosive team will be starting on their path to what could be another chance at the NCAA tournament. Fortunately for the Rams, they get to start their season off on their home floor against the Air Force Falcons, but unfortunately for the Rams, Moby Arena will not be packed with the loyal fans that help push the Rams to victory. And for Coach Hilbert, missing the fans is just another hoop they'll have to jump through this season.
Probably the worst part of that is the players will actually be able to hear me now. So I think it's going to be strange. It's going to be interesting. We did a little scrimmage with all of the effects and everything on Saturday, just so we know what it's like. And it was interesting. And I felt like, number one, they have a hard time hearing me because of the mask. So I'm yelling out stuff through this mask. They can't hear what I'm saying. And so I think you're going to just see a lot of coaches just sitting, giving signals, that kind of thing. And the players are going to have to create their own energy out on the court. And hopefully they'll do that. I mean, we've told them that that's what they're going to have to do. This is not a deal where they get this great Moby Arena to help them energize every day. They've got to do it on their own.
Now, along with the schedule announcement, the Mountain West released its preseason favorites for 2021, and the Rams were not lost in the polls. This season, even after losing 5 starters, the Rams are once again the conference favorite. Since the Rams have won 16 of the 21 Mountain West titles and haven't lost a conference match since 2018, it was no surprise they received the most first-place votes, being projected to finish atop the Mountain West for now the 8th consecutive season. Not only did the entire squad earn the number 1 slot, but 3 out of 8 positions on the Mountain West preseason team were filled by Colorado State players. Defense specialist Alexa Romeliotis and setter Sierra Zimmerman to their first preseason teams, while senior outside hitter Brianna Reynolds was named to her 3rd straight preseason team. And the accolades don't stop there for Reynolds, as she was also named the preseason player of the year. Hilbert and company are ready for what's to come this season, and based off the mass amounts of votes received, this season is sure to be just as exciting as Moby Madness would have been.
Now, volleyball is probably my favorite sport to cover here at CSU because Tom Hilbert does such a good job at building a team that always produces. As CSU's head coach, he's never lost. He's never not won 20 games. Every time, 20-plus games. And it's just so fun. I'm really excited to have CSU's most dominant sport back on campus.
Absolutely. It's going to be really interesting as well because they have so many new players that came in, 8 freshmen this season. And like I said, they lost 5 of their starters this past season, all graduating, all great players. But it's going to be really interesting to see all these different players come into their own and fill those positions as well.
Oh, yeah. Kirsty Hillier, Katie Oleksak. Moby's really going to miss a lot of those seniors from last year. Now, time for a break. But first, let's check in with Rose. I understand you have some things to say about an important football game this weekend.
That's right, Ethan. Make sure to stay tuned after the break to hear my preview on the big game in Tampa.